Hello and welcome to this Warcraft replay. This is going to be the fourth game of this Best of 7 series from the AWC Grand Finals of 2013. This is going to be Tho versus Moon, Tho spawning in as the purple human player in the bottom right, and Moon spawning in as the red night elf player in the top right. So yeah, we got a couple more games to go, so let's just keep blazing through them. Anyway, what happened in game 3? Well, good question. The map's on Short Rock, that's what I can remember. I think because it wasn't really like different strategies from either player. I think it was just Tho did better than Moon, and yeah, Moon just got overwhelmed. I think that's just generally what happened. Yeah. Alright, before we get into about game 3 again, we're gonna have Moon is gonna face some problems with that creep camp, though actually bringing in the nearby green creep camp, and it will be rather troublesome as well. Usually Night Elf players bring in Wisp to reset the aggro of these creep camps, but Tho has actually stuck his peasant around, and that kind of forced them to stick around again. Anyway, oh dear, this is not a good sign at all. Part of that orange creep camp has been pulled through, so a lot of wisps need to be pulled and try and repair this Ancient of War. Meanwhile, what hero are we going to see? We're going to see the Warden coming out for the first time in this Best of 7 series, and Archmage for Tho. So, getting back to game 3, it wasn't necessarily different from game 1 and 2. Sure, maybe like the timings might have been different, but I guess it just didn't work out for Moon. Tho did go for, once again, the well-rounded army composition, which consisted of mortar teams and then just the double sanctum units. It does actually really well against double ancient lore units, and that was, I guess, kind of bad. Though I guess how to counter that would just try and win the game before that army just even, I guess, gets the opportunity to be produced. With the Warden, I probably would see that possibility coming through. Wardens tend to be a game-changing hero more than a demon hunter, I think, in my opinion. But of course, if you can't finish the game that early, if you do well with the Warden early on, either way, she'll do very well in the later game. So Moon, well, he managed to do fairly nicely with those two creep camps, despite the pressure that Tho actually brought on. Kind of annoyingly as well, but oh well, he didn't really lose much in that exchange, so I guess it was pretty worth. Either way, oh, Shadow Priest, a Troll Berserker will be picked up on those mercenary camps, so I mean, Tho was able to pick it up himself, but he just did not pay attention to that and will lose himself, or at least just give away some free damaging units, just high damage units actually. Wow, really lost for words right now. I've been reading a couple of novels, but I don't think that is actually helping me. Oh well. So far, Boots of Speed, as well as the +6 claws, has they picked up for the Warden. Not sure if the creep camp was woken up, or just the Warden woke them up, but I'm pretty sure that Hawk will actually wake those units up either way. So, not really too important, I think, as it looks like Moon just cleared it out himself anyway. Bronze Drake gold mine will be cleared out. We will see a couple of wisps coming out as well. Is that a polymorph? That is a polymorph. Dark Wizard, I believe, is the spellcaster that casts that particular spell. However, I don't think it lasted very long. Actually, no, it's lasting a fairly long time. Shadow Priest, so that is going to be reduced healing for the Night Elf army. I think the Shadow Priests are either way just focusing on the Bronze Drake instead of healing fellow ally units anyway, so not really important. Bronze Drake will be taken out, level 4 will be gained, and a Scroll of Restoration, so that is a fairly good consumable item actually. Not sure if it's worth the amount of hassle killing a Bronze Drake would give, but either way, that is going to be a lot of healing and restoration, basically, for the Night Elf army. That is, if Moon can actually put that item to good use. Shadow Priest is going to be focused down, but will not be able to be taken out, though doesn't exactly have that much piercing damage, so it's not that easy to take these guys out. Why did I say piercing damage? I meant range damage, so yeah. It's not like footmen can easily chase down those Shadow Priests. And here we go with this little skirmish. Fan of Knives will be the, I guess, second ability for the Warden, whether or not it's a level 2 or not, I have no idea. Scroll of Restoration has been used. There we go with another Fan of Knives right there. I do say, with the missing animations, the current Fan of Knives looks rather awkward, I think. Even though animations are missing, I think the Fan of Knives creates its own, I guess, set of knives for each individual unit, so I guess that's why it's all weird in terms of angles and all that. Either way, we do have an established expansion for Tho. This is hopefully going to bring him the good money, and Moon is also creating himself that gold mine in the top middle, and of course it was a red creep camp. Seeing, I guess, though, witnessing the activation of that restoration scroll, maybe he might, I guess, recognize that the red creep camp has been taken out, but then again, Nomad Isles is one of those maps that is rarely played, so he might not realize it. Goblin Shredder has been hired up for Tho, most likely will be used for the lumber harvesting. We will have Moon picking up a Zeppelin actually. I honestly thought it was Tho's, but apparently after the Archmage attacked the Zeppelin, it was indeed Moon's, and he is going to get a couple of good kills and triple Troll Berserkers. They do, if you haven't realized, a lot of damage, so picking up 3 of them is kind of a big deal. Although I believe they take a significant amount of food, so I guess that's one of the reasons why you wouldn't want an entire army out of them. I think they cost like 4 each unit, I think. Ancient of Lores have been placed down, at least that's the first one, and the second one next to the mercenary camp. Hunter Soul not really researching anything or nothing in terms of upgrades. Nice Fan of Knives right there, picking up a couple of those peasants, and yeah, this is not looking good for Tho. He does not have enough towers prepared in the base, so this is going to be rather crippling for him in terms of economy, but Moon is going to be forced to retreat. He really needs to be careful with the Zeppelin. If he gets that thing destroyed, the majority of those units will either be slown or will have no means of escape, and there we go. TP Scroll is available for the Night Elf army. Maybe he's going to use it before getting in or after getting a couple of kills. It's a nice, I guess, blocking right here for both the Warden and the Ogre Mauler, allowing the range units for Moon to actually get a couple of good pot shots in against these militia and footmen. And of course the Warden will TP out at the, I guess, last second, so yeah. Very nicely done. I think Tho was caught between a really hard actually, oh, how does that saying go? Oh, I just can't remember. It was a catch-22 situation, I think. If he ran away, then Moon just will keep on attacking. If he continues to feed units, which he actually did, it will eventually force them to run away, but then again, it will give a lot of experience to the Warden, something you would not want to happen. It's not even 10 minutes into the game, and the Warden is almost level 6. Meanwhile, the Archmage just got himself that level 4, and of course he will be sharing experience with that second hero, which is the Mountain King. Of course, the Warden cannot gain any experience after hitting level 5, so there's really no point in clearing out these camps other than just getting valuable items as well as preventing farming for Moon's opponents. So anyway, Ancient of Wonders finally being placed down. We have a Goblin Shredder out for Moon as well, but he's not really working. Ultravision as well as +1/+1 has started at the Hunter's Hall. Zeppelin is going to be moving out. A full Zeppelin, Ogumola, triple Berserkers, double Dryads as well as the Shadow Priest is available, but it looks like Tho is now prepared. He has about 3 guard towers and double arcane towers at the main base. We are also noticing that Tho is gonna go for Castle Tech. We do have the blacksmith out. We don't exactly have the double sanctums yet. I mean, going Castle Tech suggests that there might be either heavy emphasis on knights or heavy emphasis on the Griffin Aviary units. Let's see what will exactly entail for them. Tho is going to lose himself that elemental, probably something you would not want happening. And there we go, Tho will lose himself that another elemental, which will give that Warden even closer to level 6. Oh my... Ooh. Okay. That was a rather big turnaround, I think. Nice job by Tho. TPing out, but not only that, he was able to get the Warden out just before he left. Warden, she did have these scrolls of healing, but not necessarily using it. Panda is instead going to be given those double scrolls of healing. Warden will be healing up through the Rejuvenate. And I would imagine Clarity Potion as well should be picked up, and or Venom as well. So I believe that's +1 armor for the Dryads and Bears. Yes, it is. We have a Panda coming out, returning once again as the second hero for Moon. Green Drake has been challenged, and I think Tho does not have enough units to actually tackle that one. Not quite. The Dark Wizard, remember, can cast Polymorph, so that is a rather troublesome ability. Triple Workshop, or quadruple Workshop. We have double Flying Machines queued up, but suggesting Castle Tech, I forgot, not only Knights, not only Griffin Aviary, but it can also be how Yumiko has displayed itself. Mass Siege Tank, but it looks like Tho's actually gonna go for Mass Flying Machines, which is a rather interesting choice. Actually, it's a really weird choice in my opinion. Tho is going. He did finish off the tri-hero for himself, will be getting himself that Paladin as the third one. So he values healing over just spamming spells. Paladin does have a restoration potion. Not as good as a Scroll of Restoration in my opinion, but maybe it is probably the best item compared with the other one, because I mean Moon would generally just focus fire units, so if it's a hero, then it can just instantly be healed up. If it's not a hero, then I guess, you know, you're kind of half using it by healing only one, but yeah. Anyway, what was I going on about? I have no idea. 15-second vulnerability potion on the Archmage, Gloves of Haste, 1 charge of Sentry Ward as well as the Ivory Tower. Mountain King himself got himself that +2 ring, Pin of Energy as well as the Boots of Speed. Tho placing down a lot of towers. This is a lot of wood, or firewood, for the Panda himself. I'm not sure exactly if this was a smart choice for Tho to be going for an early second base, or second expand. Will lose himself these towers, and I think it might push the Warden to the edge of level 6. Not quite. I don't exactly know how much experience those scout towers give, but interesting to note, Masonry upgrades +3 is done. A cannon tower actually being placed down over here as well. Flying machines are going to be used to actually rush down the Tree of Life, but Flying Machines is a really weird choice. because there is a panda out. However, that was not a very good breath of fire in my opinion. It only managed to hit, I would say, about 2 of those flying machines. Well, obviously it must be 2. Either way, let's see how these guys will do. They are indeed 2-1 in terms of upgrades. Will be sniping down that Zeppelin. Of course, their main power is, in fact, anti-air. But of course, if they attack buildings, then they can do fairly well in terms of just sieging buildings. Dryads will be the units to try and counteract these flying machines, and of course we still have these triple berserkers. They haven't really dealt that much damage, but so many flying machines have been taken out so quickly. Cannon tower is about to be completed. However, the bears seem to have a different opinion. Instead, Tho's just gonna bring in a flying machine fleet. Okay, Tho's now going to transition into siege engines. In my opinion, a better choice in terms of just rushing down those buildings. However, will Moon be ready for it? I don't know. Moon's got a fair amount of bears. However, are those bears going to be enough to be constantly in just defense duty? Who knows. Tho is going to be heavily relying on his 3 heroes actually to support these siege engines. I mean, pumping out of 4 workshops is fairly significant, although it's not necessarily pumping out of them at all times. We are going to have a rush down on the Archmage. We'll be able to use that 7-second vulnerability potion, as well as the Holy Lights coming down from the Paladin. Though will be losing himself 2 of those siege engines. The Warden is nowhere nearby. Oh, there she is. She is actually chasing down the Mountain King. She does have level 6. However, the only problem is that Moon Knight might not have it. And the reason behind that is, well, Tho is basically the reason. He is not making an army at all. He is making mechanical units for his army, and that can counteract the Warden somewhat. The Avatar of Vengeance needs corpses, and of course siege engines can't exactly drop them. I guess the only way to get those Spirits of Vengeance is if Moon loses his own units and provides the corpses, but yeah, not ideal. Generally, if you were some other race, you'd just create like a couple of workers and then just suicide them, but of course Moon is a night elf, and of course those wisps are ethereal and they can't drop corpses either, so yeah, really bad predicament that Moon is actually facing himself. He is building a couple of Ancient of Wars, but they're not necessarily counters to those siege engines, and of course we still have flying machines moving about. In my opinion, the best way to counteract these is just go for bears. Bears do fairly well, but of course that does not mean that the siege engines will not deal damage in the process. Of course they will die, but they will hopefully deal a lot of damage in the process before dying. And of course there are still these 3 tri-heroes to think about. Mountain King picking himself the Ankh of Reincarnation, which basically gives him a second life. We also have a +6 claws of attack. I'm not sure if that should be given to the Paladin or just the Archmage or the Mountain King. I think that would be a better choice. Panda. If only Breath of Fire were that worth using on siege engines. However, they just have so much health that I don't think it's really worth using mana for that. Either way, I think Moon is just trying to win by just assassinating at least 2 out of 3 of these heroes, and then he will gain the momentum to get the win. There we go with Breath of Fire, cancelling a couple of those towers, and of course dealing the rest. However, I think the Panda will be able... Actually, will he be able to? I think he will be able to just destroy the rest of these scout towers anyway. Moon does have those idle bears, but of course they're just there to counteract those siege engines. We do also have a corpse of a knight, so I know that seems a little contradictive of what I said about though not making units for that after our vengeance, but of course knights are also very difficult to kill. So if knights can't die easily, then there's not that many spirits of vengeance available. Okay, I was mistaken. The panda could not destroy the remainder of these turrets or towers, and I think the reasoning is that the panda just does not have enough mana. You did see at least 2 charges of 1 mana stealing has been targeted on that panda. We have a Tree of Life over here entangling a gold mine. We only have 2 guard towers, however, so maybe if Moon rushed them, but of course he is being pressured at the back front as well. I think he is supply blocked. He is indeed supply blocked, 63 over 30. If he risks losing units to fights, then he really can't replenish them because he just can't support to provide the food, I guess. Though is going to continue laying down the pressure with those siege engines. He is still producing out of them. Of course, Bears trying their best. Even with the roar, it's not enough. 1-1 is on them, and I don't think Moon has considered on getting 2-2 just quite yet. There we go with another Moon Wall being forced to be cancelled right there. This is rather difficult for Moon right now. And it looks like the Tree of Life was indeed destroyed. Knights coming out with 0-2. They don't have animal war training, but I think the main reasoning behind these guys is just to provide just a tank brute force for the human army. We even have triple mortar teams just in case, and they are going to lay down some siege. But of course, if they do die, then Avatar Vengeance gains the possibility of using those corpses. Warden is nearly at level 6, will be at level 7. So she should have Avatar Vengeance. If not, then she probably has level 3 Phantom Knives, level 3 Shadow Strike, and then 1 on Blink. I think maybe she might consider changing the Phantom Knives for the Blink. However, is there a marketplace? There is a marketplace, so she can buy a retraining tome. I'm actually surprised that she hasn't yet, or at least, oh, never mind. There we go with the Avatar Vengeance. This creep camp can be cleared out and get or obtain the Spirits of Vengeance. Actually, not gonna do that. Just gonna go after the future base of Moon, of Though actually. So Avatar Vengeance is out. Is spell immune. However, that will not stop the towers from attacking them. Dryads are going to be completely demolished by those mortar teams. We do have the Phantom Knives just taking out those mortar teams. Avatar Vengeance needs to be careful. If she dies, then that is a fairly wasteful, I guess, usage of that Avatar Vengeance. But thankfully, Rejuvenate is still a Night Elf ability. It is going to heal the Avatar Vengeance fairly nicely. And of course there are no Spellbreakers because there are no double Sanctums for Though. Instead he is just continuing to produce those mortar teams, as well as siege engines, and of course as well as knights. 0-2 knights. No upgrades anymore. 58 versus 61. Moon does have a higher army count, but I guess the problem is just trying to keep that base alive. Spirits of Vengeance are being sent. Not sure what they're exactly doing. This gold mine has indeed been ran out. So yeah, I think Though is just very desperate on replacing that expand. Of course, he is going to try and expand in the bottom left. This is a more long-lasting gold mine, so he has no problems of running out of gold for a while, but that's only if he actually managed to establish a base. Tree of Life was forced to uproot itself, so right now Moon is not actually mining off of any gold mine. Annoying siege tanks. I guess this is generally one of the reasons why most people don't particularly how should I say it, particularly enjoy watching this kind of strategy. Tree of Eternity will be uprooted and will be used as a combatant against these siege engines. Ancient of Wonders has actually been destroyed in the process as well, so they are doing a lot of damage. Thunderclap will be forcing a mass detonate on those wisps, and level 7 Warden is going to be focused down very quickly. However, she will manage to escape. Ancient of War is going to try and just slap the siege engine, but the siege engine is not going to be slapped. Staff of Sanctuary will be saving that knight. This Tree of Life is taking a lot of damage, and I'm not sure how Moon can pull this through, really. I mean, even if he fends off this attack for another like 5 minutes, Tho is just going to be... Actually, I don't know. Tho might actually lose this if he's not careful. He can't not have spent most of his fortune on just continually creating siege engines. So this entanglement has been completed. 5,000 gold can be gained from that base, and the Tree of Eternity has also moved. So an army supply of 58 versus 33. Tho is not looking good, even though he was on the aggression for the majority of this game. I guess the containment on Moon can't be contained anymore. And here we go, even utilizing mercenaries to add into the army count for Moon. Let's see how Tho will counteract with this. He's been having these 3 heroes for quite some time. I guess Mass Teleport would be an absolutely valuable ability at this stage of the game, but of course the Archmage is not at level 5. We will have a TP scroll coming down from the Panda, maybe onto Tho's army, and we'll be forcing HEG. Storm, Earth, and Fire once again is going to be shown at the end of the game. Damn. Oh well, this is going to be the 4th game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in game number 5.